All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, and now talking about real music in real time for real people just like you right there, just like me right here. Uh, what's happening with Journey? Well, thanks to their website and a few postings, Journey is back in business starting in October. They'll be playing some dates in Vegas, kind of to blow off the dust or whatever. You know, you don't tour for a year and you need to go back out there and sync up again and get your mojo going again. It is the lineup that is currently listed. There aren't going to be any changes to that lineup as far as we know, at least in 2019. The big question is in 2020. And you know why I say that? Because I did this video a couple weeks back and Neil Sean retweeted it, which opens up the possibility that maybe something is up for 2020. The video I did was titled something like, Should Neil Sean Pack Up and Just Do What He Wants to Do with the Name Journey in 2020? I'm sure, you know, the management of the band isn't too happy that he retweeted my video, but I try to ask questions that will maybe get to some of these folks, and if they find the information in these videos useful, they might actually tweet it out, which of course helps me, it helps them, and you know, if they disagreed with it, I don't think they would be tweeting it. It's happened before. I'm really appreciative when Neil does this, so it does open up the possibility that maybe Neil Sean is looking to retool the band for 2020. And what might that band look like? Well, I think it would look a lot like Journey Through Time, except you might see Ross Valerie playing bass guitar. I heard through the grapevine that Ross wanted to be a part of Journey Through Time, but decided that he needed some time off to just chill and relax and be with his family. And I think he's got a couple other side businesses that he does, and I think he needed to tend to those things, and he just wanted to get off the road for a while. Whereas Neil Sean is a road warrior, a project warrior. He just wants to keep plowing forward as far as the music goes. Some of these other guys in the group, I think they're a little less inclined to be as busy as Neil Sean, which leads me to like Steve Smith. I think Steve Smith would be a guy who might want to just go back to playing jazz and not being quite as busy as he has been with Journey, although the money, from what I understand, is pretty tough for him to resist. So Dean Castronovo, I think, would be a fine addition to the band. I think having Greg Raleigh back in this band also would give it a shot in the arm, because there's all this material from the 70s and early 80s that Greg was a part of, whether it was his keyboard playing or his vocals. He tends to embody that era, and for a lot of folks, the Perry Raleigh era of Journey is their favorite, because you're still getting some of that sound that began in 1975 with the band's debut, but you're getting more polish, you're getting Perry's songwriting, and you're getting Raleigh and Perry kind of competing for mic time. So it's an interesting period, and I think it was a really a strong growth period, and you wonder what would have happened if Greg had stayed on board for the 1980s and what the band would have sounded like and what material they would have created. It's a very interesting, hypothetical. Now, as far as Arnel, he's the other guy who's kind of the odd man out here. He already has the record for the longest tenured vocalist in the band's history. So he's been quite durable, but I can tell you, just based on the audio that I've heard between him and Dean Castronovo, Arnel does not sound like he did when he first started, and I'm not blaming him for that. I know that these tours are rigorous, and hitting these notes, what I used to call the Tarzan note at the end of Separate Ways, for instance, that one note can pretty much ruin your day if after you hit it, you're pretty much not able to function. And it's a difficult thing singing these songs. So no disrespect intended to Arnel, I think it would be good if Arnel stayed and Dean was there, and Dean and Arnel could kind of trade off one another. I think you make the band stronger. And I think having Ross back in would give the band more of the original lineup flavor with Greg. Imagine having Greg, Ross, and Neil in the band. I mean, that's three major players from the early days. So I think that would sell quite a few tickets if you call it Journey, and you have Dean back there, and you have Greg, like I say, and maybe you bring in another keyboard player. Like Neil had John Varn play on the Journey Through Time concert. You have somebody like that. I know there's this guy Travis who currently tours with the band. He could possibly be there still. Not sure how that would all go down. But I can tell you this, it would give fans some hope that the band isn't going to stay stagnant and that the things that they're doing are going to keep the band moving forward, possibly new music down the road. I mean, Dean right now is cutting music for Revolution Saints, just to let you know about that. That could be a video in and of itself. But that's a band that's kind of like a fusion between Whitesnake, Night Ranger, and Journey all thrown together. So people will be looking forward to that. As far as 2020, again, if I'm the guy who's managing, I bring in as many people as possible. I keep Greg Raleigh. I bring Dean back, and I sell a lot of tickets. And I bill this as basically a rejuvenated classic lineup of Journey. And maybe you keep Arnel, maybe you don't. I think that's up to Arnel at this point, and up to the band as far as their working relationships go. So that's my video analysis of Journey and what's next for the band. The immediate future, well, it's the same lineup that's been touring for quite some time now, and that lineup will play Vegas, I believe, 9 dates or 13 dates or something like that. A lot of concerts in October, so buckle up for that. If you want tickets, better grab them before they go, because they are going to go fast. All right, see you soon.